Jimmy Haslam has made one thing clear. If you're not part of the solution, you're the problem. When Jeudy berated Shedeur Sanders on the sideline during the Browns 49ers game, it wasn't just a heated moment. It was a snapshot of everything wrong with the culture the Browns are trying to fix. The confrontation, where Jeudy clapped in Sanders' face and questioned his calls, was so hostile a veteran had to pull them apart.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This wasn't leadership. It was ego on full display, and it forced Haslam to respond swiftly. For a franchise battling inconsistency, the last thing they need is internal chaos spilling into the public eye. Haslam's reaction wasn't just about defending Sanders. It was about protecting a culture rooted in accountability and growth. Being the youngest player on the roster, has consistently modeled professionalism in the face of pressure. His calm response to Jeudy's outburst stood in stark contrast to Jeudy's pattern of immaturity and underperformance. As the Browns assessed next steps, this incident may mark a turning point, not just for Jeudy's future, but for how this team defines leadership moving forward. Jimmy Haslam is not happy. And honestly, after what went down on the Browns sideline, who could blame him? During a heated matchup against the 49ers, Cleveland Browns wide receiver Jeudy decided to channel all his frustration, not into his game, but into an unprovoked attack on rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders. And we're not talking about a quick spat or a miscommunication. No, this was full-blown verbal disrespect. Jeudy got in Sanders' face, clapping aggressively, questioning his decisions, berating him in front of everyone. It got so out of hand that a veteran had to physically step in and separate them. If you're thinking this is just a one-off moment of sideline tension, it's not. This is part of a bigger problem brewing in Cleveland, and it's finally boiling over. Let's talk about Jeudy. Because for someone who's supposed to be a core piece of the offense, his performance lately has been underwhelming would be generous. Drops, fumbles, inconsistency. He's racking up lowlight reels faster than actual highlights. And this isn't new. Jeudy has struggled to live up to expectations since entering the league. When the lights are on, the production rarely follows. And when critics call him out, he doesn't take it well. This is the same Jeudy who was famously called just a guy by Hall of Famer Steve Smith. And instead of using that as fuel to improve, Jeudy responded with attitude, not output. It's a pattern. Instead of accountability, we get ego. Instead of leadership, we get sideline tantrums. And now, it's not just affecting his reputation, it's actively hurting team chemistry. And the Browns? They're not exactly thriving. Coach Kevin Stefanski's offense has been criticized all season for being painfully one-dimensional. Run heavy, low risk, low reward. Quarterbacks aren't trusted to take shots. Receivers aren't getting consistent looks. And the whole operation feels stuck. Into this mess walked Shedeur Sanders, a rookie with a mountain of expectations, a big-name father, and a team that's desperate for a spark. But here's the twist. Despite the chaos around him, Sanders is showing more maturity than veterans twice his age. He's not pointing fingers. He's not clapping back. He's owning up, staying composed, and leading like a franchise quarterback should. After the Jeudy incident, Shedeur could have gone off in the media. He didn't. Instead, he focused on the work. He talked about needing time to build chemistry. He emphasized trust. He showed exactly the kind of professionalism the Browns claim to value. And that hasn't gone unnoticed. Enter Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, who reportedly was furious after witnessing Jeudy's behavior. Haslam didn't mince words. He backed Sanders completely and made it clear that what Jeudy did was unacceptable. That kind of public support from ownership isn't just a pat on the back. It's a statement. Sanders is the future, and the Browns are building around his leadership. Anyone trying to derail that, they're in trouble. What makes this even more significant is the broader organizational context. The Browns have been trying to establish a culture shift, one rooted in accountability, maturity, and team-first values. So when a player like Jeudy, who's already underperforming, decides to act out publicly against a rookie trying to do things the right way, that's not just a bad look. It's a direct challenge to the direction the team is trying to go. And let's not forget the money. Jeudy is sitting on a 3-year, $52.5 million contract. But right now, that investment looks more like a liability than an asset. Performance-wise, he's falling short. Attitude-wise, he's becoming a distraction. The value just isn't there. And in a league where every dollar matters, it's only a matter of time before tough decisions are made. Insiders are already speculating that Jeudy could be on the trading block, or worse, released outright. The Browns are signaling that behavior like this won't be tolerated, especially when it comes from players who aren't backing up on the field. And with Haslam doubling down on professionalism and leadership, Jeudy's days in Cleveland could be numbered. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is rising above it all. He's taken hits, on the field and off, but continues to show resilience. That's the kind of quarterback teams build around, not just because of talent, but because of character. Because when things go wrong, and they always do in the NFL, you need a leader who doesn't fold, who doesn't lash out, who doesn't throw teammates under the bus. Sanders is proving he's that guy, and that matters. Because football isn't just about stats or splash plays. It's about trust, chemistry, and how you show up when the spotlight gets uncomfortable. Sanders is choosing humility and growth. Jeudy is choosing ego and excuses. And that contrasts everything about where this team is heading. This incident wasn't just about a bad moment. It exposed a fault line in the Browns' locker room. It showed who's really bought into the team culture and who's just there for the paycheck. It showed that leadership isn't about volume. It's about values. And the Browns' leadership is clearly choosing Sanders. From a big-picture standpoint, this moment could be a turning point for the franchise, a moment where they decide enough is enough, where they stop tolerating mediocrity and immaturity just because a player came in with hype, where they double down on accountability and start building something real. And if that means cutting ties with a high-paid wide receiver who's causing more problems than solutions, so be it. Because teams that win don't just collect talent. They build culture. They build trust, and they back the people who show up with integrity, not just highlight reels. Shedeur Sanders is playing the long game. He's showing up, shutting up the noise, and proving that leadership doesn't always have to be loud. It just has to be real. And with the support of the front office, the coaching staff, and even the owner himself, he's in a position to grow into something special. But Jerry Jeudy, he's at a crossroads. If he wants a future in this league, let alone with the Browns, something has to change. Because right now, the only thing he's leading is his own downfall. So what happens next? Will the Browns pull the trigger and move on from Jeudy? Will Sanders continue to rise despite the drama? One thing's for sure, this locker room just got a whole lot more interesting. And if this is any sign of where the Browns are headed, expect more changes to come. If you've been watching the saga unfold, drop your thoughts in the comments. Should the Browns keep Jeudy, or is it time to cut ties? And what do you think of Shedeur Sanders' response? Does he have what it takes to be the future of the franchise? Hit like if you're here for the drama. Subscribe if you want more behind-the-scenes NFL meltdowns. And share this video if you know someone who loves watching egos crash and burn on the big stage. The thing is, when moments like this happen, when a sideline scuffle turns into a national talking point, it's never just about that moment. It's about what it represents. And Jerry Jeudy going off on Shedeur Sanders? That wasn't just a teammate lashing out. That was a reflection of everything that's been bubbling under the surface in Cleveland. Because let's be honest, the Browns are in a weird spot right now. The offense is sputtering. The team identity is shaky. And for all the talk about a culture shift, moments like this show how fragile that culture really is. You've got a quarterback trying to lead, trying to bring calm to chaos, and instead of getting support, he's getting clowned on the sideline by a teammate who can't even hang on to the ball. It's no wonder Jimmy Haslam is livid. He spent years and a boatload of money trying to turn this team into something respectable. And now, a guy like Jeudy is blowing it all up on live TV? Nah, that's not flying anymore. The whole situation feels like a test of leadership, a test of maturity, a test of what this franchise actually stands for. And right now, it's pretty clear who's passing and who's flunking. Sanders could have retaliated. He could have barked back, thrown shade, made a mess in the media. Instead, he chose silence. He let his play and his poise do the talking. That's not just maturity. That's strategy. That's someone who knows the cameras are always rolling. The narratives are always spinning. And the best thing you can do is not give them more fuel. Meanwhile, Jeudy handed the media exactly what they wanted: controversy, conflict, chaos. And now, he's the story. Not his catches. Not his touchdowns. This, the meltdown, the moment he snapped. And for a guy who's already battling perception that he's more hype than substance, this is the worst kind of spotlight. Let's talk numbers. Jeudy is not producing at the level he's being paid. Drops, mental lapses, inconsistent routes. It's all adding up. And when you're not producing, your leash gets a whole lot shorter. You don't get to act out. You don't get to call people out. Especially not your quarterback. And especially not this quarterback. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just some rookie trying to find his footing. He's already carrying himself like a veteran. He's watching film, owning mistakes, facing criticism without flinching. He's making it clear he's here to earn his spot, not just be handed it because of his last name. In that mindset, that's what the Browns need. A leader, someone who can weather the storm, not add to it. Someone who's more interested in winning than in being right. Let's be real. NFL locker rooms are intense. Tempers flare, egos clash, and not everyone's going to get along. But there's a difference between passion and poison. And Jeudy, right now, he's looking a lot like the latter. The Browns can't afford that. Not with a young quarterback who needs protection. Not just from defensive linemen, but from the toxicity that can derail a locker room before it even gets off the ground. The team's been here before. Big names, big drama. No results. They've seen what happens when talent is prioritized over character. Spoiler, it never ends well. And now they're being handed a fresh chance to set a different tone. To back the guy who's acting like a leader, even when it's hard. And to hold accountable a guy who clearly isn't interested in being part of the solution. So what happens now? Well, the walls are closing in on Jeudy. Internally, there are reports that trade talks have already been floated. The money he's owed, becoming harder and harder to justify. The trust, damaged. The vibe, completely off. It's one thing to struggle on the field. It's another to drag down your teammates with you. And fans are noticing. The sideline confrontation didn't just go viral. It triggered a wave of responses online, many of them siding with Sanders. Because let's be honest, people are tired of the drama. They want wins. They want progress. And watching a wide receiver publicly humiliate his own QB? That's not it. Meanwhile, Sanders continues to gain respect, not just in the locker room, but from fans, coaches, and ownership. He's being framed as a future leader. And when you have the owner publicly backing you after a teammate disrespects you, that says everything about where the power lies. You could almost feel the shift in that moment. The Browns aren't just evaluating players anymore. They're evaluating values. Who brings cohesion? Who brings chaos? Who's all in? And who's just playing for themselves? And it's becoming clear. Jeudy's window is closing. Fast. Look, we've seen this story before. A talented receiver starts to fade. The frustration builds. And instead of grinding it out, he lashes out. He stops being coachable. He stops being a teammate. And eventually, he becomes expendable. That's where this is heading. Unless Jeudy makes a major turnaround on the field and in attitude, it's hard to see a future for him in Cleveland. Not when the team's trying to clean house culturally. Not when they've got a quarterback they believe in. Not when ownership is watching everything unfold in real time. And let's not forget, this isn't college. This is the NFL, grown man business. If you can't bring production or professionalism, there's the door. So now, all eyes are on the Browns. Will they make a move? Will Jeudy get another shot? Will Sanders continue to win over the locker room? We're watching a franchise try to rewrite its identity. And in a way, this whole incident might be exactly what they needed to draw the line. To say, this is what we accept. That is what we won't. Because for too long, Cleveland has been known for dysfunction, for distractions, for wasted potential. But if they follow through on this, if they show that leadership matters more than ego, that character matters more than clout, maybe they finally start turning the page. At the center of all this, Two players, one rising, one spiraling. Shedeur Sanders is showing the kind of steady, focused leadership that wins locker rooms over. He's not perfect, but he's trying to be better. Every game, every practice, every interview. Jeudy is showing the opposite. A refusal to be coached, a resistance to accountability, a willingness to undermine his own team when things don't go his way. And that difference? That's why one of them is a future, and one of them might be gone before the season ends. Let this be a lesson for every player watching. Talent gets you drafted, but professionalism keeps you employed. So now we wait. Will the Browns send a message? Will Jeudy face consequences? Will Sanders continue to step into his role as a leader of this franchise? Whatever happens next, it's clear that the Cleveland Browns are at a crossroads. And how they handle this moment will say a lot more about who they are than any win-loss record ever could. And look, let's not kid ourselves. This situation didn't come out of nowhere. Jeudy has been a ticking time bomb for months. Ever since he landed in Cleveland, the whispers started. Could he finally be the guy they hoped he'd be in Denver? Could he put the inconsistency behind him? Could he actually be worth the money? Fast forward a few games, and the answer is painfully obvious. He's not. Not right now. And not with this attitude. The Browns knew they were taking a gamble bringing him in. The flashes of brilliance were there, sure. But the baggage? Also there. And now it's become undeniable. Jeudy's not just dropping passes. He's dropping the ball off the field, too. The confrontation with Shedeur Sanders wasn't just ugly. It was revealing. You don't clap in someone's face like that unless you've got zero respect for them. And in a locker room, that kind of energy spreads like wildfire. It creates division. It poisons a culture. It sets the tone that chaos is okay. But here's the kicker. Sanders didn't feed into it. He didn't take the bait. He didn't snap back. Didn't escalate. Didn't give Jeudy the meltdown he clearly wanted. That restraint, that's what leadership looks like. And if you're Jimmy Haslam, sitting in your owner's box, watching this all unfold in real time, you're not just disappointed. You're furious. You've spent years trying to build something that lasts. You're investing in a new generation of players, one that's supposed to leave the dysfunction behind. And then a veteran steps in and humiliates your rookie QB on the sidelines? That's not just a slap in the face to Sanders. That is a slap in the face to the entire direction the franchise is trying to go. Because let's be real, there's no version of the future in Cleveland that centers around Jeudy. Not anymore. That ship sailed the second he decided to make it personal. Now, the focus is all on Shedeur. And while people were skeptical at first, wondering if he was just hype because of his dad, he's proving that he's built for this. He's not folding under pressure. He's standing tall, absorbing criticism, staying level-headed. That kind of presence, especially in a rookie, is rare. But it's not just about staying calm. It's about being accountable. After the game, Sanders didn't duck questions. He didn't shift blame. He talked about building trust, needing more time, learning the offense. That's what you want from your quarterback. That's what teammates rally around. Compare that to Jeudy, who didn't take ownership of anything. No apology, no explanation, just more silence, or worse, defiance. And in a league like the NFL, where perception is reality, that silence speaks volumes. It tells the front office he's not willing to grow. It tells teammates he's not in this for anyone but himself. And it tells fans that he's not worth the jersey they're wearing. And you know what? The timing couldn't be worse. Because the Browns are at a tipping point. They're not rebuilding anymore. They're trying to win now. They've got a defense that's finally pulling its weight. They've got pieces in place. What they don't have is room for a diva-wide receiver dragging down the energy every Sunday. And look, NFL history is littered with guys who thought they were untouchable, who thought their raw talent would outweigh everything else. But time and time again, we've seen how fast the league moves on, especially when production doesn't match the paycheck. Right now, Jeudy's not just underperforming. He's making himself untradeable. That $52.5 million price tag isn't just hefty. It's alarming for any GM watching this mess unfold. Why would another team roll the dice on a player who's not producing and can't keep his emotions in check? That's the thing Jeudy doesn't seem to get. He's not playing just for Cleveland. He's playing for 31 other teams watching closely, deciding whether he's worth the call when the Browns inevitably start shopping him. And right now, that phone's not ringing. Meanwhile, Sanders is building something. It's not perfect. He's still a rookie. He's still adjusting. But the foundation is there. Leadership, poise, accountability. All the stuff that can't be coached but has to be present if you want to succeed in this league. And the people around him, they're starting to notice. You can feel the tide shifting. Teammates are backing him. Coaches are giving him more responsibility. Even the fans, who are notoriously brutal in Cleveland, are starting to warm up to him. That matters. Because in a league where franchises rise and fall on the shoulders of their quarterbacks, having one who gets it, even when he's getting slammed, is everything. And Jeudy? He's proving that he doesn't get it. That he's more interested in drama than development. More invested in being seen than being accountable. At the end of the day, this isn't just a story about a sideline outburst. It's a story about direction. The direction of a franchise, the trajectory of two careers, and the difference between leadership and loudness. Shedeur Sanders is moving forward. Jerry Jeudy is stuck in reverse. And unless something changes fast, unless Jeudy can humble himself, refocus, and start showing up the right way, this may very well be his final act in Cleveland, maybe even the league. Because when ownership makes it this clear where their loyalty lies, there's no coming back from that, not without major change. So now we watch. Does the front office pull the trigger? Does Jeudy end up bench traded or cut? Do teammates start distancing themselves? And most importantly, does Shedeur keep rising through it all? Whatever happens next, this moment will be remembered. The day the sideline exploded. The day Jerry Jeudy made it clear where priorities are. And the day Shedeur Sanders, against all odds, showed everyone exactly what kind of leader he's becoming. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did Jimmy Haslam make the right call backing Sanders? Is Jeudy salvageable? And how would you handle this situation if you were in the Browns front office? Like this video if you're all for teams finally putting character over clout. Subscribe for more behind-the-scenes NFL drama and meltdowns. And share this with a Browns fan who's been through way too much already. Because in Cleveland, the drama is just getting started.